Hello everyone, in today's video I'm going to be doing a walkthrough of the TryHackMe Challenge Revenge. This challenge is a successor to the challenge blog on TryHackMe. It's not very important, it's more like a story thing. Basically, in the previous challenge blog, we hacked Billy Joel's WordPress blog, and now he was able to track us down, and he wants us to hack into the company website that previously fired him. So he wants us to deface their website, and there's only one clause to this, and that's we cannot take the website down. So we can't keep the website down. He wants it to stay up. So let's go ahead and close that out, and let's go ahead and copy that IP address, and let's do an Nmap scan. So I'm going to use the -A option. This is for service versioning checks, basic scripting checks on the services we do find, and then an operating detection scan. So while that's running, let's go ahead, and I'm going to put this in my web browser to do some manual enumeration. Move this on over, and let's head over to the products tab. So we can see that there's a bunch of different stuff here. We can see an email immediately at the bottom, but let's go ahead and click learn more on the box of duckies. So immediately we're brought to some type of product description, right? We have a price, we have the name, and we have the description on the side, as well as the colors. At the top, you can see a number, right? So that one number, if we change that 1 to a 2, we get another product. We change that 2 to a 3, we get a different product, right? And so there might be some SQL or some database on the back end that we are grabbing this information from, and it's using that one to fetch that information as the primary key. If we put a single quote there, we can see that we do get an error, a 500 error, which is pretty interesting. The reason we use a single quote is we basically want to disrupt the query, the SQL query in the back end. And the reason for this is so it can give us an error back, and it might give us more information. In this case, it doesn't. But if you're doing other labs or other CTFs, you might find out that it also spits back the DBMS, the database that it's using, the version it's using, maybe even some tables. I tried to do or 1 equals 1 to see if I can get anything funky to spit out, but it said the same thing. It gave me a 500 error. So let me go ahead and show you what this query might look like on the back end. So I have a database called new schema, and one of the tables on there is called products. So I'm going to do select star from products. Let me go ahead and execute that using this lightning bolt. And this actually shows all the items in my database. So the 0th item, because programming starts with 0, is a hammer. The first item is White Sox. And you can see this product ID, right? So all databases have to have what's called a primary key, a unique value to represent each individual row. So this product ID is that unique value. So what might be happening on the back end is to display it to the website, it might be selecting certain information, right? So select price underscore USD, name, stock from products, and then we can say where product ID equals 0. And let's go ahead and run this. And you can see that grabs the 0th item, right? It grabs the hammer, it grabs the name, it grabs the price, and it also grabs the stock. And then it can use this query's results to then parse it and then put it on the website. So now remember, we have access to write to this variable in the URL. So what if we put malicious SQL code in there? It might get executed, right? And that's what SQL map is for. So now I'm going to go ahead and move this over. We can see the Nmap results are done. From the 1,000 ports, it did scan. Port 22 and 80 are open, but let's keep going with this SQL map scan for now. So we're going to do, let's make this a little bigger, and we're going to do SQL map -u, and then we're going to paste the URL. And then where that 1 is, we want to put a star for the injection marker to tell SQL map that that's where we want SQL map to put its queries at. So let's go ahead and say yes, because it's asking us if we want to use the injection marker, and it's going to start scanning. So it already was able to determine that the database management system is MySQL. It's asking us if we want to skip the other payloads. We're going to go ahead and say yes. And then it's going to ask us if we want to increase our risk level. We're going to say yes to that as well. So after some time, it did find that it is injectable through time-based statements. So SQL map was able to make the server halt by passing a sleep statement within the SQL parameter being pulled. So I said yes to the following checks for the to do a proper union column check, using fuzzy testing. I said yes to that. And then it said that it wasn't able to pull the value types using null values. Do we want to append random integers for the values? And I said yes to this as well. And then it's saying that it's generic union query. And do we want to keep testing for others? We're going to say no. That should be it. And then it spits out all this information. And you can see this payload URL. So let's go ahead and go to that. If we actually paste that in our browser over here, you can see that this whole page is customized, right? All this information is from what is in the URL, right? So that means we are able to directly modify these queries. So if I change this random number to a 51, you can see it modifies the price to 51. So this is big. Nothing we can get really out of this page specifically, but we can tell SQL map to now dump the database name. So we can say --dbs, and this is going to list out all the database names. It's going to ask us again if we want to use the injection marker. We're going to say yes. So we got some databases: Ducky Incorporated, MySQL, Information Schema, Performance Schema, and Sys. I'm pretty sure the bottom four are all default in any MySQL database. I know for sure the Information Schema and the Performance Schema are. So now let's dump the Donkey Inc. database. So we can use -d Donkey Inc. to specify what database we want, and we want the columns of this database. So we're going to say -- columns. It's going to ask us again. It's going to ask us every time. And it's going to now print out all of the tables for the Ducky Inc. database. So we have users, we have the system user, which is the one we're going to be looking at. So to dump this actual table, we want to copy the table name. And we want to say SQL map, and then the same thing as before. We want to keep that -d for the Ducky Incorporated. We want to dump the contents of table -t and then the system user. So it's going to ask us again, right? Say yes. And now it's dumping out the IDs, right? The user ID, the email, and the username and password of all the users in the system user table. So I'm going to make a directory called Ducky, and I'm going to make a text file of all these hashes we found. So nanohashes.txt, I'm going to paste this one in here. And I'm going to paste this one in here. And then finally this last one. So now the first flag actually can be found by dumping the users table. I'm not going to show you how to do that. I just pretty much just showed you how to do it. You just want to change the system users to a users, and you can get the first flag. But now let's actually focus on cracking these passwords. So I'm going to be using John for this. And if we cat out the hashes, you can see this $2A in the start. Now, there's a bunch of different formats, but this one sticks out to me as bcrypt because that's one of the signatures it uses is $2A and then $. So that's it. You know, this just comes with time. Bcrypt has a bunch of different formulas. I'll flash on screen for the for you guys to see, but to me, this just sticks out as bcrypt. So to attempt to crack these with John, we can use the command John. And then we want to do -- format equals bcrypt. And also most web logins or web platforms just use bcrypt. And then we want to say space and then hashes.txt. And then we want to pass our word list. So I'm going to be using rocku in my tools directory. So tools and then rocku.txt. And then after some time, this is going to spit out this password right here. This password is actually for the server admin user. So let's go ahead and copy that. Scroll up. Yep, that's this user right here, server admin. That's his password. So if we actually go back to the website, you probably noticed on the top right there is a login page. Now this username is very finicky. You have to log in and then you can use it. But I tried logging into this portal. It didn't do anything. If we do inspect, go to the network tab, use the same information. You can see it just uses, oh, it's broken. But once it does work, I think we get rid of this action and then try again. You can see it's just a GET request. There's no post request here, which is, pretty interesting. Most login forms use post request. In the background, I was able to use GoBuster to enumerate the admin login. But even if we try the admin login with /admin and try to log in, it doesn't work, right? So it's same with the GET request, it still doesn't work. And so I thought, hey, maybe I have to make my own post request. So to find out if it supports post requests, we can use curl, and we can say -x for options to say, hey, what are we able to do here? You need the verbose option, and you can see at the bottom it says allow head options GET. So it doesn't allow post requests. So maybe it's a specific GET request, but for now I just thought, hey, we know SSH is open, right? So let's go ahead and try that. So we can do SSH and then the server admin and then the IP address. It's going to ask us if we want to agree to the fingerprint. We're going to say yes. And then let's put that password in that we got earlier. And it works. We're in, right? So let's go ahead and clear the screen. And there's our second flag. So cat flag.2, cat flag2.txt, and there it is, almost there. So now we can go ahead and utilize the sudo-l command because we do have the password for this, right? So let's find what programs we can run as sudo. So you can see that we are able to use the systemctl binary to start, stop, and restart that Ducky Inc. service, which is the web server, right? So we're able to stop and start the web server, and as well as use sudo edit to actually edit the config file for that service. So let's actually run this. And something we can actually do, or if you look down here, you can see that the user that's running this application is flask-app. So this is a Flask server. Flask is a Python module to make websites. And so if we actually utilize the top command here and go back to our website, and if we just spam refresh for a little bit, you can see, once it pops up, you can see the Flask app user is using Unicorn, which I don't know how to say that, but that's just a way to run a Flask application in a production environment. So it's just utilizing Unicorn to run the Flask application. So that we can change this user. So we can go in here and we can say, hey, run it as root, and then we can save the file, write it again, and let's go ahead, and we need to run systemctl daemon reload because we actually made changes to the service file. We need to reload the daemon, and then we need to say, hey, restart the actual service. So we can use systemctl restart and then duckyinc.service. And if we do top again, go ahead and spam refresh, you can see that root is now using Unicorn instead of the Flask app user. So we can do more than just edit just the user. I mean, there's a whole section on the exec start, right? This is the command that runs on startup. Now remember, the website has to stay up, so we can't just replace this command. So what I did was I used /bin/bash, and then I basically utilized command chaining. We can't just command chain in the normal syntax, but if we tell the service to run bash and then pass the command, then we can do service chain command chaining. So we can say -c, and what we're going to do is we are going to add /bin-bash to our sudo file, our sudoers file, so we can run it as root. So I did echo server-admin all equals all, no password, bin/bash. That's just saying, hey, that's the file that we're going to add to the sudoers file, and then we're going to use sudo t to basically pipe it into a new file. We're going to say etc sudoers.d, and we want to do /, and this could be anything. I just did server admin as root, and then we want to put a space, and then we want to do and then at the very end we want to put a double quote to encapsulate the whole command. So then once we save that, we can do systemctl, and we want to do daemon reload because we made changes to that config file. And then now we want to actually restart the service. So sudo systemctl restart, and then duckyinc.service. So let's go back to the website. Let's go ahead and refresh, and just give it half a second, and you can see it's back online, right? And now what we can do is we can do sudo-l, and you can see that we're able to run bin/bash as root. So if we go ahead and just do sudo bash, you can see now we have a root shell. So if you actually go to the root folder, If you use ls or even for hidden files, you can see there's no flag file, right? So remember the mission objective. We need to deface this website. So if we actually go to the web directory, which is in var www ducky incorporated or ducky inc, and then we can go inside the templates folder, we need to edit that index.html to deface the website. So in my case, you can see that in header 5, it says the largest wholesaler of rubber ducks in the United States. I just went ahead and changed that to the worst wholesaler of rubber ducks in the United States. So go ahead and save it. And now if we go to cd root, go ahead and check back on the website. And if we go back to the home page, you can see it's updated, right? The worst wholesaler of rubber ducks in the United States. And we do ls, you can see that flag 3 is there. So we can cat that out. And that is the challenge. I thought this one was really fun. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video.